was being done to me. I wasn't the only one. So also students who go from the east to school in the north, they also suffered that. So also students who go to school from the south to the west, they also suffered that. So that means we were picking up certain things, values from homes, and we were already acting it out. I've never experienced a war, but I've experienced religious and ethnic crisis coming from Kaduna. And I know what it does. But today I see a generation that is obsessed with war. I see a generation that is on social media every day, fighting each other. Fighting each other. We don't even know ourselves, but just by our names we can tell where we are from. We already have put those labels also on ourselves, and we're fighting each other every day. While the corrupt class, smart guys, they never, even when they pretend that they're fighting in the open, behind your back, behind closed doors, they are chilling with the most expensive wines, with the most expensive shop. Nigeria remain in Nigeria. So let's know ourselves. It's a fight that we can and must fight it. And that is why today, my father is in PDP. But last elections, I did campaign for PDP because I told him your party brought us to the situation that we're in Nigeria. And I went to his house and I was campaigning for APC. Because I have grown to have my own mind and to make my choice. Democracy is about choice. And today again I stand boldly to make another choice. Because the choice we thought we made was a choice that was going to take us somewhere. Little did we know that it was just a change of acronym from PDP to APC. They're one and the same. And that choice to me is who you see before you. When people come to me and say, oh, you guys are just going to ensure that this man returns to power again, I said, what do you mean by that? Oh, we have to fight any other person but Buhari. I said, yes, and that's why I'm with him. Any other person but him. But I would not choose corruption over incompetence, because corruption and incompetence kills. Who are the people who are putting back in power again? You want me to come out and still campaign for PDP? The likes of the people that I still see around them? The likes of the Femi Fani-Kayode? Nigerians to vote for them again? Where were they when I was sleeping in my house without light and they have the power to make a difference? Where were they? Where were they as I speak right now? I have a brother who is in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. He's been semi-unconscious. The fight in Kaduna has made it practically impossible for me to go there to see him. Where were they when you and I needed to have our schools secured so our children can go to school in safety? Where were they when we were on the streets shouting, stop the killing? Where were they when children were being slaughtered in Lantan? Where were they when children were being slaughtered in Agatu? Where were they when we were being slaughtered in Zamfara? Where were they when we were being slaughtered all across Nigeria? Where were they? Where were they? There's only one person that I know that as a child I grew up hearing her name. There is one person that I know that I kept going everywhere whenever I hear Dr. Oby is going to be somewhere in Abuja, I find myself there just to have an opportunity to meet with her. I never did. There was an event, an APC event, where she went there and she delivered the keynote speech just when they had merged with CPC. And the title of her speech that day was The Uncomfortable Truth. And I saw her look into power and spoke the truth. They had just slaughtered 59 boys in Buninyadi. I went to a federal government girls' college. If I was slaughtered, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you people. And Nigeria would have moved on. The same way we keep moving on when things happen because we say, oh, not them. It will come to you someday. The victims of today were yesterday's survivors. The victims of tomorrow will be you and I. Because today's survivors are gone already. So tomorrow's victims are those of us who are here. Let me sound that alarm to all of you. The hinterlands are being overrun. I come from the north. You think you're in Lagos, you are safe. You will be shocked. You will wake up one day and everywhere is leveled. That work you think you're going to, that office you think you have, that business you think you have, will be gone. There will be nowhere for you to run to. There is only one woman that I know that has stood, and is still standing. If you don't know her, if you do not know her, I know her. And I want to believe it's the reason why you are here today. You left whatever you were doing to be here today. When people say, where are the structures? Where are the people that will vote for her? And I say, oh, my people who did this to you. My Bible says you perish because of your lack of knowledge and understanding. You want the structure. PDP had all the structures in 2014. They did win elections. So who were the structures that APC used to win elections? You and I. You and I. No any bloody party that they used to win elections. It was you and I, our resilience, our anger, our pain that we channeled towards a new government in place. And it's that same anger we're going to use again to channel it and get a new government, a competent government this time around. Ooh, a leader that has been tried, tested in different capacities. Tell me, how many of the people who are parading themselves when put side by side, Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, can match her? Is it character? Is it competence? Is it capacity? Give me one of those names and let's have the dialogue. So that is it. That is why I am here. I am here today because I believe in her. I am here today because I am the structure. I am here today because I know that the Nigeria of my dream that I want to see, the Nigeria that I want to see work for me, the Nigeria that I want to see give me 24 hours electricity and so much more, the Nigeria that I want to see with good health care, the Nigeria that I want to see with good education, the Nigeria that I want to see with good transport network. I know who can give me that. We have tried religion to get into office. It didn't work. We have tried ethnicity. It hasn't worked. We have tried incompetence. It hasn't worked. We have tried to corrupt people. It hasn't worked for us. So what next, Nigerians? What next? When you go for interviews, there are so many things your employer would want to know about you before he gives you that job. And the minute you get that job, you're on probation. It's not as if it's a done deal. You don't deliver, you're fired. Why do I see us make excuses for these leaders that we should be firing every now and then. Yet we're driving on the road and we're so impatient with each other. But we're so patient with the people that have kept us in this situation for so many years. We make excuses for them. At the slightest instance, oh, he's trying. Trying what? He asked for your vote. He said he was going to deliver. He said he was coming to serve. Why are you making excuses? It is not a favor for you to come and ask me for my vote IQ and I vote for you. Then tomorrow you tell me that I should thank you for the job that I hired you to do. And I am paying you. You are even earning more than me. You have a better life and better access, more than I do. So enough is enough. Nigerians. Wake up, as Professor Lumumba said. Nigeria should be the Mecca where Africa would be coming for its political pilgrimage. We have been left behind, but we can catch up. We can play catch up and overrun them. The time is now, and there is one person that can do that for us. That one person has the courage and the capacity to serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maureen. Many people do say, why did she start late? She will answer all those questions, because that's a lot of things we get. Why didn't she start all this while? She doesn't like politics, and she's unapologetic about it. She doesn't know politics, but she knows how to care for human beings. She knows empathy. She knows humanity. And I watched her, we watched her, cry all the way from Kano to Abuja. We're doing the red card movement. When we realized, we woke up to our citizens being killed. And when they were killed, the government in power didn't care. They went on with their politics. And we said, at this moment, enough was enough. But enough was still not truly enough. And we said, red card to both of them. They are the same. And when the red card movement started, and we had to go around Nigeria, the 6th geopolitical region, one of the places we stopped at in the northwest was Kano. Kano is my birth state. It's not my state of origin, because of course I'm a Nigerian. If I was from another country, Kano would be my state of origin, because that was where I was born. But of course they won't call me Kano. They always show me back to where I truly come from. You know, just stand up. Come. I like to say the two of us, we adapt that people do not expect in Nigeria. The norm is not the way it is. One of us is from the northwest. One of us is from the south-south. And the moment you tell people to pick which is which, whatever they pick, most times what they pick is wrong, because they assume I'm the one who's from the northwest. I don't come from northwest too. There are new Nigerians that are saying, no, Nigeria is more Nigeria than any Nigerian. We are all the same citizens, and this country belongs to us, all of us. And together we will run. Together we will be the structures. Together we will stand and fight for this great nation, so that when we see our grandchildren, we will tell them the Nigeria that they cannot imagine was ever possible. When we tell them of the Nigeria of today, they will look at us and say that's impossible. This great nation that we belong to today could never have been that way. At this moment, I would like to introduce, call upon the stage, the leaders of the party. They would introduce themselves. I'll call on the National Chairman of Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, the National Secretary of Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, and the National Auditor. Welcome, sirs, and you do the introduction. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies.
Good morning.
My name is Oby Ezekwesili. I'm the National Chairman of the Congress Party of Nigeria, Acpn. And with me today to grace this occasion and to be one of your hosts is the National Secretary, Mr. Paul Alassane. And Honorable Dave Acpn, the National Auditor.
Yes, you are. Good morning, gentlemen.
Please do feel free to interact with us. Now I'll hand over the mic to the National Secretary.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy to be with you today. And you have heard
some of the things our young women have told us, that we are still going to hear more. Nigeria is at crossroads, and we believe that we have the solution. We believe that it is a fight for all of us. It's not meant for Dr. Oby Ezekwesili alone. It is a fight for Nigerians to fight for their rights. And we believe it, the fight of good over evil, and definitely will succeed. Thank you very much. Auditor.
And the vibrant ladies and leaders too.
Just say
They're thinking that we were moving in positive direction.
God said
who can make a change. It's truly divine. She had never itched or planned to come out as a politician. Better dig deep and look deep. I know you will be able to find the answer. The power belongs to us, and you make a difference this time if you believe we can change this country.
Nigeria. I believe in Nigeria where the child of the president and the child of the policeman will be in the same classroom getting good, free education. I believe in Nigeria where access to good quality education is not dependent on the economic status of one's family. I believe in Nigeria where every child has hope, where they know that their ability will not be truncated on the platter of catchment area. I believe in Nigeria, child, whether it's from Edo State or Kano State or Jigawa State or Ebonyi State, will be treated the same way. I believe in Nigeria where you do not need to know anybody to get that job. I believe in Nigeria where accountability, transparency is the norm, where citizens are awakened and they occupy the office of the citizen, where citizens know that it is their right to make demands on leaders, not when they are told that they dare not say anything. I believe, and I hope you do too, because this Nigeria, it's our country that we must fight for, and we must ensure that we get the best we can out of it. God has given us so much, so we should stop abdicating our responsibilities to God. We sit at home and pray and do nothing. We sit at home and pray and do nothing, and we expect everything to be okay. But God will not do for us what He has given us the ability to do ourselves. And that's why we are. At this moment, I will call on Lami Phillips to come over. Thank you.
Good morning. Can we please rise for the national anthem? Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey. Freedom, peace and unity. You may be seated.
We are the future, we are the dream, we are the nation, we are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing, that's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are
think T.Y. Bello released that powerful. We're on the march to a historic election. It was an election that showed us a vision of what is possible in our country. That the son of a humble fisherman from a minority tribe in the Niger Delta can rise to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The winner of that presidential described his victory as the renewal of hope in Nigeria. And most Nigerians believed him until a series of own goals crashed that hope down a slippery slope. And that beautiful Nigerian dream tragically became. Citizens were on the march again. Citizens were so angry with the brand of failure posing as governance that we took a gamble and placed our hopes in today's ruling party, the APC, and President Muhammadu Buhari, a 71-year-old former dictator who has now shown neither the capacity if that campaign candidates did was justified and excused. Questions were asked about his competence or track record or worldview. He couldn't even be bothered to attend a presidential debate to defend his ideas in a competitive environment. Yet, he promised change. And a majority of Nigerian voters bought what he was selling. But where is this change? I intend to do three things here today. First, I will lay bare what is at stake in this election by telling you why the failed PDP to the failed APC and its candidate, President Buhari. They are one and the same, Siamese twins of failure and destruction. Represents the most prepared, the most qualified, and most formidable choice for 2019. And while finally, I will address the most frequently asked questions and concerns about my candidacy, and then what exactly we will need to do in order to take this movement from here to Aso Rock. So let us look back briefly to 2015. Do you remember? Do you remember the chant across the country was anyone but Jonathan? Sadly, that is how we ended up with the current reprobate government. This time, it is anyone but Buhari. And by that, mean that we should reinstate the failed PDP and its candidate, former Vice President Atiku, because they think that Atiku is the only person that can defeat Buhari in 2019. So, in 2023, when Atiku and PDP inevitably fail again because a bad tree cannot bear good fruit, then what? We will hear a new chant, anyone but Atiku? That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now. 2019 cannot be anyone but Buhari. Our country is not a recycling plant for an inspiring old man with ideas. We deserve better than their aggressive mediocrity. And that is why I am running for president, to lead a people's movement that will permanently terminate bad leadership, retire this incompetence, and fight for every Nigerian. For those of you in the PDP as an alternative, I really want to ask you, what is the thing that you see about them that is any different from the APC? Really, these people are the same. They are the Siamese twins of failure. Fellow Nigerians, here is the truth of the matter. The APC-PDP is not two parties. The APC-PDP is a single party, fielding single candidate. And that candidate's name is Butiku. Yes, you heard me right. Butiku. Buhari and Atiku are conjoined from head to toe as Bituku. Butiku is simply Butiku. There is. So the question is this: apart from forgetfulness, Why are some Nigerians suddenly considering the PDP yet again? I have heard some people say that it is because the PDP candidate has run successful businesses and therefore will be good for the economy at a time like this. That response just makes me shake my head in wonderment. Is it the same person we know, or are we speaking of another? Perhaps you have never read a 2005 email from the president of Atiku's University, which was obtained by US investigators. Let me quote a small portion of that email. The flow of revenue to the university will slow dramatically if Atiku's political fortunes continue to wane. Construction delays on campus have also... Atiku and his wife, Jennifer Douglas, were able to bring over 40 million in suspect funds in this very same country. And these are the people you want to put in charge of the national treasury, in charge of the money for our children's education, of the resources for our country's hospitals, of the budget for our depleted army and our impoverished police force. If we dive into all the filthy issues involving the PDP candidate, from the PTDF saga to the 2.8 million Siemens bribery scandal, we may spend the entire day today, and I simply do not have that time. So let us talk about the present administration, the evil twin. What is the primary legacy of Muhammadu Buhari?
Nothing.
It is the destruction of our nation's wealth, presiding over the worst economic recession Nigeria has seen in decades. Even now that the economy has come out of recession, the growth is as sluggish as his government. 4 out of every 10 adults are either unemployed or underemployed, and Nigeria is now the poverty cap of the world. The World Bank confirmed that we now have more extremely poor people than India, which has a population 6 times our size. And in the midst of this, his vice president was celebrating last week at the Nigerian Economic Summit that handing bailouts to state governors to pay salaries is an achievement. Wow, what a big shame. What a colossal shame. President Buhari declared after his victory that he belongs to everybody and he belongs to nobody. It sounded like sweet music at that time, but it was a big scam. This is a man whose wife, and surely his wife should know him better than we do, laments that a mafia has hijacked her husband's government. There is no shadow of doubt. President Buhari is the most parochial, most naked against him by the government. And they do not plan to take any. He's running his campaign in the Northeast. Should we talk about how this government recalled the former chairman of the Pension Reform Commission? On his head for stealing billions from our nation's pensioners. The head of the civil service actually advised the president not to reinstate this gentleman. And what did the president do? He not only recalled him, but he also promoted him. He only sacked Mena because citizens resisted and said, no way. Up until now, over a year later, the EFCC and the police have done nothing about that matter. And they do not plan to do anything. And we stand here time for that. As one of the founders of Transparency International, I often encounter rulers like the ones in charge of Nigeria. Their words and their actions are parallel lines. They never meet. They say one thing publicly, but their actions speak and scream the opposite. I shudder to imagine the amount of corruption that will be uncovered about President Buhari and his government when they are kicked out of office next year by Nigerians. I really shudder to imagine what we will see. I do not intend to dwell any further on these symbols of the past, ladies and gentlemen, but it is important that I should define what Butiku actually represents, so that citizens can easily identify and reject it no matter the packaging. It is important to let you know exactly what you are choosing on behalf of all of us and our children when you choose these icons of failure, disappointment, and national poverty. We must not pretend that we do not know what the stakes are. We know, you know. When your children ask you in a few decades what choice you made when faced between corruption and incompetence on the one hand and the Acpn candidate Oby Ezekwesili on the other, what answer will you give to them? That you chose corruption or incompetence over competence, capacity, and character? I decided to join this race because I wanted you and me to have no excuse. We have in this race a candidate who has excelled in corporate Nigeria, excelled in national government, excelled in private enterprise, excelled in international development, and then dedicated her life to fighting for every Nigerian, from Chibok to Jos, from Abia to Acpn. You have a candidate who is one of the very small tribe of Nigerians who have served in government but have no allegation of corruption against them. And by the way, I mean allegation. Zero. None. Not one. I want to be sure you know that the choice is between, on the one hand, Butiku, a ticket which includes a man who insults our collective intelligence by asking you to go get his WAEC certificate from the armed forces, of which he is the commander-in-chief. And another man who cannot tell you where he got the startup capital for his alleged multi-million-dollar enterprises. And on the other hand, a person whose track record is filled with concrete achievements in education, solid minerals, public procurement, and international development. A person who has been fighting for this country every day of her life for the past 30 years, from being out on the street of this same Lagos, fighting for the restoration of June 12, 19. At great risk to myself by demanding for accountability. Still missing 112 children. That is why the clear understanding that I am entering into, and it is now time for us to this country. So don't pretend that you have no choice. You do. And it is not one between the devil and the deep blue sea. I am often uncomfortable speaking about my record, and people know that. But I am now a politician, and I must let you know. I have my record on which I am running. It is my duty to remind you of my track record on a day like this. I led the World Bank's operations in 48 African countries for 5 years, delivering up to $40 billion in new resources to help us tackle development challenges across a range of issues. I am not talking about theories or claiming to live. Not what I'm talking about. I am not talking of claiming to be the chair of the economic team while being very busy super leakages and patronages in government. I am talking about the actual work of rebuilding nations. These people are so incompetent that they make issues like infrastructure and human development, agriculture production and productivity, private sector development and economic reform, intelligence, and the Internet of Things or blockchain technologies, because they are busy trading. It's not because it's issues that have zero capacity for power and money to confuse them, and it's a shame. I was privileged to be a cabinet member before I was 40 years in this country, and a minister public contracting system to one of a global standard. Power does not faze me, ladies and gentlemen. Power has never and can never confuse me. Then people talk about grassroots. I have crafted and implemented multi-sector policies to transform the lives of those at the bottom of the pyramid. I have visited this country, around this country, gone to different states of this country. I have seen poverty, audited opportunities, and created solutions that have kept us from crashing. These men don't know the grassroots like I do. They don't. These guys only have experience in compromise and corruption. My own experience is in caring for people and rebuilding nations. As Minister of Solid Minerals, I led the repositioning of our mining possibilities for private sector leadership. I cleaned up the chaotic mining titles registry. I terminated the power of the minister, my own power. I terminated as though that is what the role of a minister should be. Supervised the comprehensive geophysical survey of the country that generated the basic data on the number of 430 locations of this country. Knowledge, massive opportunities that the private sector could take on as minister. These are very verifiable facts, ladies and gentlemen. The records are available for those that choose to scrutinize. I was Minister of Education for less than 1 year. But in that time, we embarked on the most comprehensive reforms Nigeria has seen since 1990. The first ever nationwide inspection of all secondary schools. We built the Nigeria Education Management Information System, collecting data and using it to analytically plan education policies. We universities, and today course in every higher institution in our country. We started work on the public-private partnership models for education service delivery, and importantly, ensure certified and able to award national innovation. All these things I mentioned and more have not even been spoken about. All you need to do is to find out all that we did in the 10-month period, lying somewhere in the archives of the Ministry of Education, truncated by those who choose transaction over policy and vision and institutions building. This is not a noise-making exercise. Capital. I understand economies. I know nation building. You can trust that when I say that under an Oby Ezekwesili presidency, we will get to work immediately, lifting a minimum of 80 million Nigerians out of debilitating poverty. I mean business. I don't have issues obtaining visas or traveling to any country in the world. whether it is the United States or the United Arab Emirates, they will be delighted to welcome me. Honest. I will stand toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, head to head, and side with any world leader anywhere in this world. I have had the privilege to work with nations from Rwanda to Liberia, advising governments across Africa, including my two sisters, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia and Joyce Banda of Malawi, and my brothers Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Alpha Conde of Guinea-Conakry. These leaders have implemented courageous, effective reforms, so commonsensical that I became so ashamed of sitting on the sidelines and allowing Nigerians have only the choice of Butiku for president. You know, we don't suffer. And today, our move finally don't do. My leadership will not be by trial and error, and I will not spend my time making excuses and blaming others. Because I know that the poor mother whose children will sleep without food tonight does not really care about excuses or blame games. The 4 million Nigerians who lost their jobs last year do not have time for excuses or blame games. Leah Sharibu and 112 Chibok girls, as well as others that we don't know their identity, whose futures are being snatched by terrorists, do not have time for excuses or blame games. The small business owner who spends half of his earnings on generating his own power does not have time for excuses or blame games. They want results. They want results, results, and more results. They want tried and tested leadership. A leadership that is data-driven, independent-minded, and solutions-centered. You know my record. That when I say I will do it, you can take it to the banks that I will do it. You know that when I make a promise, I will keep my word. Don't we finally, at last in our lifetime, deserve that kind of a president? I ask you, don't we finally deserve the president that you know will do what she says she will do? You do not think you deserve a president who will not negotiate her integrity? Do we not think that you deserve a president who would not give you stories or have any hidden agenda, nor any kind of dodgy friends? Just a president who would be working every day for you and your children. Are we not tired of managing poverty and death and destruction? My dear brothers and sisters, the world is watching. My dear children, my young friends, the world is watching. We will choose to become now that the kind of candidates with a wide-ranging national and international race. How sad it will be. How equally sad it would be if we elected a shady, unprincipled individual who hops from one party to another party every election season and has corruption filed in the United States Department of State. Look, there is nothing to fear in these old men. There is nothing to respect about the power that they have. They do not know anything that you don't know. These are not men worthy of your wrath at all. All they know is how to grab power. And we can shake them off that power in 2019. An Oby Ezekwesili presidency will not only work to create an enabling environment for our young people to explore their greatest potentials and be globally competitive, but they will actually power our government. I'm a friend of the young. Our young people will be the human capital that need urgent prioritization in this country under an Acpn government. We have an agenda to transform 20 universities into world-class institutions with strong showings on the global rankings. These people are still talking about oil when the world is counting down to the end of the oil economy. In fact, we should give them the oil to go and drink, since it is what they really want, so that they can leave us alone to focus on rebuilding our economy. Our agenda is about creating wealth, growing the pie exponentially, creating jobs, building shared prosperity, and taking at least 80 million Nigerians out of poverty. The agenda is to mobilize the energies of our people and our private sector to invest in upgrading our capacity and capabilities to compete globally and to end the bad policies which have turned Nigeria into poverty central. Importantly, our actions will center on mobilizing the young, building and adopting science and technology to disrupt the status quo in every sector, including governance, implementing the reforms and reorganization to reduce the bureaucracy, and making government a partner instead of an enemy of progress. This will in turn create jobs, turbocharge businesses and fight inequality. In fact, I cannot wait on November. After I have concluded my listening tour of the states of Nigeria, I am going to discuss my agenda directly with the market women, with the plumbers, with the mechanics, with the imams, the deacons. I will discuss with truck drivers and accountants and teachers, with civil servants. And after that disruptive bottom-up, grassroots-driven process, we will then unveil a practical vision document that is broken understand, so that you people will know that this thing is not as hard as the old men think it is. But the question people often ask me is actually about policy, even though I insist that policy matters, because policy is what changes lives. We've seen that in other countries. Many people know my record on policies, and they know that this would be a president that they deserve. What they really worry about is my politics. They worry whether I am seriously running. Am I just running to make a statement? Is it a vote? Is it that a vote for me is a wasted vote? Those are the worries. Since my public declaration for the presidency, I've had people come up to me directly, even my friends in the economic elite, or even those who work at the highest levels of the government and the APC-PDP, who know that Butiku is a failed enterprise. Or my young friends who reach out online and they say, we believe in you, ma. You have the vision, you have the integrity, you have the experience and the empathy, and you have the knowledge, you have the right judgment to become president of Nigeria. You know, they say all these things. Then they pause for a few seconds and say, but. Everybody knows what but means. But what? I then ask them. Their response is usually one of three things. And I'll post three things. But, number one, they say, you left it until this late to declare? Why not wait until 2023 when you will stand a better chance? The second but is, you cannot win. And we need someone that can defeat President Buhari. That but, and they say, how would you govern even if you won when your party won't have a lot of seats in the National Assembly? Very, very legitimate concerns. And I'm going to address them now. Let me address each of those buts, one after the other, so that we can move those concerns out of the way and get to the serious business of having you join us so that we can win this 2019 election and begin the urgent marathon race of remaking Nigeria. Why did I leave it this late to declare? Finally decided that enough is actually now enough. I waited long, and I waited hard. I was hopeful that Butiku would get the competition of ideas and strategy that they deserve. But a few weeks ago, after a number of young, vibrant, energetic candidates invited me to supervise an election amongst themselves, and I was troubling outcome of that on their process. And after that process, it occurred to me that we really had no other choice. I had no other choice than to think about this, to think about the fact that Butiku could well get away with taking us downhill for another 4 years. My hatred of politics, by my hatred of the disdain that this political class has for the citizens of Nigeria. And this is how nations are changed. Not by people who run for offices out of ambition, but by people who are determined enough to make a strong, powerful decision, no matter the odds. Even money, time are huge odds, but it is time to say enough. That is why I made this conscious and prayerful decision to run and win this election with Nigerians. I am not running alone. We are all running. I agreed that the best time to have started running this campaign would have been much, much earlier. But I have learned enough from history and strategy to know that the next best time is now. 3 months is a very long time in politics. 3 months is a very long time in politics. 1 day is in fact a very long moment. Now that all of us are we know that we will redeem the time. Now that we are paying attention, now that we know the choices we face, let me even ask those who say there is no time. You have had energetic young and older people who have been working to build structures and these elections for more than a year. How well have you donated to them? Have you volunteered for them? What resources have you given to them? And you know the people I'm asking. They started on time. These other young people started on time. But the time that they have, and the time that they have run so far, giving them any advantage in numbers, in donations, in volunteers? Did it inspire you to do your own part? No. So really, my dear friends, time is not the issue. You see, time is not the reason you haven't stepped up to sacrifice or fight for your country. And time is not the reason you have not joined a movement to defeat APC-PDP. It is not time that is the problem, it is fear. You are afraid. You think we cannot defeat them. You think they are. You think we have to concede defeat. You think we have no choice. That's what the problem is. So I stand here today as a symbol of the courage that we all need to own. You asked me to wait until 2023. What will happen precisely? Do you know that the country does not have until 2023? Do you know that the country is in precipice of a major takedown? So that what will happen? So that you will suddenly get courage And you will suddenly be ready to do the work you should have been doing since? No way. I am not giving you that excuse. We cannot wait until 2023. Butiku is already scheming to continue ruining this country from 2019. And you want to hand it over to them. Well, now is the time for us to ensure that all their scheming falls down flat. And if you insist that we must work towards 2023 instead, then let me ask you this. When is the best time to start that marathon? After the elections next year, when you would have forgotten and returned to your daily bread? Or now, right now, today, now that the rubber has met the road and the choices that are before us are clear and strong? And if you don't give your vote, your donation, your resources, your contribution right this minute in this election, let me repeat, the time for that it starts this minute. You need to join us now. This country barely has 4 months, not to talk of 4 years, to continue experimenting on this path of failure. Have you seen fire and we are fiddling while it burns? You think this is a game? You think this is time to worry about what people will say, what people think, that they will laugh at us? We are talking of our children and our future and the survival of our nation. We're talking about things that matter 86 million Nigerians, and you're talking about waiting for 4 more years later. There is a fierce urgency of now. If we do not intervene now, we may not have a country to rescue 2023. And to those who swear that we cannot win, those who mock our hope, I have only this to say to you: and get ready to be shocked when Nigerians, get ready to be shocked when Nigerians finally get the message that they have the numbers, the power, and the last word. There are only 2 candidates in this election: Butiku and the Nigerian people. And I am the candidate of the Nigerian people. Yes. You can keep trusting in the power of, the security agents you will commandeer and the armies of godfathers you think you have, but you will not see us coming by the time we arrive. And the wealth and might and reach of our movement will be greater than anything you could ever muster. You will buy your own. We will persuade, inspire, and get our own of the people that love data. It comes because they don't even know what data is. We know that there are millions of passionate and patriotic Nigerians, young and old, men and women, rich and poor, from the north and from the south, who sense that this current cycle of failure in our country is unsustainable, and who are eager to join a movement to disrupt this rigged political system. If you are one of them, open to voting for us and supporting us, but you're genuinely worried about our chances when you look at the Goliaths standing against us, I say to you, my friends, let not your heart be troubled, for this shall be the 21st century David defeating the Goliaths. So let me speak briefly on our path to victory. Did you hear me? If you heard me, I need you to tell me you heard me. Yes. Find every sleeping voter and wake them up. They can't sleep on their destinies. We know the sleeping voters who are yet to be activated, and our mission through our massive data network is to find each and every one of them who have their cards but who have refused to vote and convert them one by one, community by community, into all the voting communities of this country. We will have canvassers, we will have small donors. It is already happening. It is already happening. Those sleeping voters, you know them. They are your friends, your family members, and your people in the villages whose data, whose addresses we now have, whose hometowns and voting habits we are tracking. We know them. We will shock the old school politicians in 2019 because they don't even know what is coming their way. We are fighting for Lekki as much as we are fighting for Kabong. We are fighting for Asokoro with the same energy that we fight for Obashuku. We will fight for Port Harcourt as hard as we fight for Dutse. And by the way, enough is enough of those of you in the towns and urban centers speaking about the grassroots alone as if you're not part of Nigeria. You cannot leave the burden to rural voters alone. It is time for those of you in the urban cities to wake up and do your own part too. The badly managed Nigeria has been a conspiracy between those at the bottom of the pyramid and the political class, with a missing middle. It is time for the missing middle to wake up. Ask them to wake up. Stop sitting in your office and arguing and whining. Enough. Stop it. The movement is now here. Let me use this great of Lagos for an example to you. Alimosho local government area is the biggest in Lagos, with 650,000 people that collected their PVCs in 2015. But do you know how many people actually showed up to vote for president on election day in 2015? Only 146,000 out of the 650,000. That means that only one person out of every registered 4 voters bothered to vote. Whenever anybody tells you that this Jagaban or that Jabagon controls this place or that place, tell them to stop spreading fake news. You need to stop overrating these men. If after 15 years of politics, of voter intimidation and manipulation, these politicians still have a ceiling that is less than 40% of the voters, even with the inflated numbers, then where is their power? Where is their power? Only 86,897 people voted for APC in Alimosho out of 650,000 potential voters with PVCs. So where is this their famous control? Our movement simply needs to bring out just one extra person for us to win that one local government. Did you hear me? Yes. That's all we need. One more extra person and we win that local government. But these politicians sell lies about their power so that you get discouraged and sit at home while they pillage the country and the future of our children. They have a lot of money. Yes, we concede, they do. But they cannot buy everyone. Can they buy you? No. Power is not served a la carte. Not even to them. They don't have enough money to even buy up to 50% of the voters. 504,000 voters in Alimosho local government in 2015 simply did not show up to vote. They were simply unbuyable. Most of them did not show up because they knew that voting for any of the status quo parties was a waste of time. So they chose to sleep at home instead in 2015. Yes. But if you now join me to convince those sleeping voters with our record and our plans, by knocking on their doors, by taking a message of hope to them, by showing them that progress and prosperity is possible, they will turn up.
Yes.
And that is exactly what we are going to do. The politicians may own their corrupted party structures, but they do not own Nigeria. They do not own you, or do they?
No.
This is how democracy works. My dear fellow compatriots, if enough of you should vote for me, then we win. When you stay sounding wise and cynical at home, saying it will not happen, just like people said about the black president of the United States of America once upon a time, until it happened. Just like people said about apartheid in South Africa, until it ended.
Yes.
Just as people said about evil taxation of the colonial masters in Aba, until the women showed that it should end. It is only if you stayed away that we will not win. But when you vote, and then you sit at the polling booth and ensure that your votes are protected, or when you donate now and ensure that we can hire the people to help us protect the votes, hold the security officials accountable, and supervise INEC with eagle eyes, then yes, we will win. When you vote for me, we will win. Oh, that sounds nice. Did you hear me?
Yes.
When you vote for me, we will win. When you convince 10 more people to vote for us, we will win. When you volunteer your skills and your resources by going now and just reading everything we have on oby2019.com, oby2019.com, or joining Oby 2019 right now on Facebook, Oby 2019 on Facebook, we will win. That is how democracy works. It works because the people who want a good society work for it. We have the structures across the states and local governments. We have the technology that these guys are not even aware of. We have a detailed polling unit strategy. Now all we need is you to work with us to activate this historic network. Finally, there is one small thing people ask when they want to mock us and pretend that they are wiser than others who choose to fight. They say to me, how will you govern without a majority in the National Assembly? You know, my face looks like that emoji right now on Twitter. You know, I know someone who can answer that question. The name of that person is Peter Obi. I hear he is with the PDP these days. Maybe he can help explain to you how he managed to govern as Apga governor in my state, Anambra, despite the majority of lawmakers belonging to a different party, PDP at that time. Oh, he's with them. People who make this empty argument are blissfully ignorant of how elections are won and political parties are built in many nations across the world. They are also deeply unaware that across the world, wielding the presidency as a tool to reshape the entire political configuration of a country, as well as strong third party and independent candidacy, are a legitimate strategy that have won elections from Italy to Kosovo, from France to Germany, from Portugal to Russia, where in 2012, Putin actually ran as an independent. These people don't know, and yet they are so loud in stating their concerns. By the way, what exactly has President Buhari's legislative majority done for the country? Please, next time, help me to ask what he has achieved with his party's majorities. Not not being able to govern without a majority of lawmakers from your party is dead on arrival. But if they are still doubting, just chill. Chill. There is no problem. When we get into Aso Rock, when we start remaking our nation and banishing poverty from the lives of our people and lifting over 80 million of our people out of poverty, we will show them what is truly possible. My brothers and my sisters, don't let anyone deceive you with cynicism. It's the easiest thing to have. It doesn't cost money to be a cynic. These people told us that we were wasting our time fighting for June 12th. Well, here we are today. They honored the people that they selected as having fought for June 12th. They told us, when I was in government, to stop wasting my time, that due process cannot work Nigeria. Well, you should better go and ask the PDP goons of that era what happened when the forces of darkness met that due process. They told me that not one single Chibok girl can be rescued. Madam, roll your map and go home. Leave the Unity's fountain. We ignored them. We kept demanding for our girls until at least 107 of them are now back home. And we will continue until the remaining 112 and Leah Charibu come home. I am here again today, ready to stand with you, ready to stand with my fellow citizens. My dear compatriots, we have reached the point of no return. We have a choice before us. We can choose to maintain this upside-down jaga, nyama course that has been set by the APC-PDP. We can choose incompetence and corruption. We can choose to pretend that these two choices are not the same failed conspirators who have destroyed the last generation and now want to destroy the next generation. We can even make jokes about it and choose to sleep on election day. That is one choice. But there's a second choice. But if you chose the first one, then you have chosen failure. And you have chosen to give up on the future of your children and our children. But there is another choice. We can recognize that this is the most consequential election of our lifetime. We can band together and say, enough is now finally enough. Do you want to repeat that with me? Enough is now finally enough. That failure is no longer acceptable. That we are tired of managing. That to accept this morass of failure is no longer an option. That we have all it takes as a country to compete and win amongst the Committee of Nations. And that the only way to do so is to snatch 2019 from the hands of Buntiku. When the doubters tell you that we can't win, you tell them we are already winning. Just by refusing to be deceived, confused, and dissuaded. When they tell you we cannot win, tell them that this is a marathon and that we're starting now. You will contribute your own time, your own money, your effort, every resource, so that between now and February 2019, we will build a massive political structure that will shock Nigerians. Tell them that we will not just win more votes than any, but that we will win a big, beautiful victory that will make our children and yours believe in Nigeria all over again. Tell them that you are the structure that we have. Fellow Nigerians, we have reached the point of no return. The out-of-school children need a champion to fight for them. Our brothers and sisters across the north and the south being slaughtered while our government watches and makes excuses. They need a champion to fight for them. Our small business owners whose businesses are not being funded with government loot need a champion to fight for them. Our army of unemployed, you imagine that you have to donate millions to make a citizens movement like ours. No, donate what you have. People have given us 1 million, people have given us 100,000, some people 1,000 naira each to us. We will disrupt the politics of this country forever. And we want the big ones. You have your phones and your laptops. That's the dividend of democracy. At least that happened once upon a time. Show me a big thing that has happened since then. You can let your phone ring. I need you to visit www.oby2019.com and donate to make the Hope movement, or volunteer to be a part of the movement. The in-kind support that we are receiving is massive. The process is so simple on online, so you can literally volunteer or donate in just 3 minutes. You can take our message and go and share it with families and friends, your churches and your mosques. Sign up now on the website oby2019.com or on our Facebook. It's a Facebook group page at Oby2019 on Facebook. Sign up now. You can even decide to organize amongst yourselves, drawing strategies and pooling resources to make our mission possible. You can form Women for Oby, Student for Oby groups, Diaspora for Oby, Entrepreneurs for Oby, Tech for Oby, Bloggers for Oby, among many others. Form Facebook and WhatsApp groups like yourselves. Set targets to reach 20 people or 50 people as you can. Take materials from oby2019.com and personalize for your own purpose. Knock on doors for our party Acpn, Acpn. Do everything doable by you. And then when the beautiful February morning comes, we all will go out to vote, knowing that we have done the right thing for our nation and its future. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? Yes. It is time. I say to you, it is time. We cannot butiku again. Repeat after me. We cannot butiku again. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been fighting for Nigeria all my adult life. My fight did not start today, contrary to what some people assume. It has been on for 30 years. Even at Transparency International, in the early 90s, I was such a thorn in the flesh of the government of President Abacha. They called me Conspiracy International in those days. I am committed so that Nigerians can earn and grow. Butiku is all the power and largesse of being president. I am running to disrupt that old order. I am running to lead. I am running to lead a new politics in this land. Butiku is invested in perpetuating the old dismal governance outcomes. I am invested in building that new Nigeria of our dream. Now the new field of our fight is politics, and I have still got plenty of fight in me. Oh, I still have plenty of fight in me. It is not the size of the dog that matters. It is the size of the fight in the dog. You already know that this lady is never for turning or giving up. But this is my toughest fight yet, and I can't win without your support. Our party, the Acpn, cannot do it without your support. We need your help in this urgent for a new Nigeria. Can I count on it?
Yes.
Can I count on your support?
Yes.
Will you join me in this urgent party?
Yes.
Will you fight for every Nigerian with me?
Yes.
I know your answer will be yes. My you know, let me itself, once spoken by the great Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt told America in 1933, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national life, a leadership of honest and vigor has met with the understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to victory. What a quote. Fellow Nigerians, our time has finally come. The time of the Nigerian people, no longer the time of the politicians. It is time. It is time, my people. That time starts now. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless every one of you. God bless those listening to us online. God bless those that have not followed this, but will hear our message in the days to come. God bless you all. We are the future. We are the future. Thank you very much. Please be seated.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation.